Are you watching closely? You're about to watch a trick, a good one. 20 years in the setting and you didn't clock a second of it because you weren't meant to. It's all in the jackets. 25 years ago, a kid in Florida wore the mouse ears for Disney, danced next to Britney and Justin. Last week, a grown man walked onto a Disney stage in a Mickey Mouse jacket.
Hi. I owe a lot to Disney.
That's Ryan Gosling, and that jacket was the reveal, the end of the trick. So let me take you back to the top and show you the whole thing, because once you see how it's done, you can't unsee it. This is the prestige of Ryan Gosling.
You have to bring it back.
Getting old sucks.
Every magic trick has 3 acts. Not 2, 3. The pledge, the magician shows you something ordinary and lets you check it for wires. The turn, he makes that ordinary thing do the impossible. And the prestige, the one they name the film after. The twist, where he brings it back. Because making something vanish isn't the trick, bringing it back is. And here's the part that film knew in its bones. The trick only works because you let it. Underneath, you know it's a con. You came here to be fooled. So keep this close. You're the mark in this one, and so am I. So step 1, the pledge. The ordinary man. Here is your ordinary man. Checking for wires. Blue Valentine. Drive. Only God Forgives, a hostile, beautiful, unwatchable kind of film that no star in their right mind touches. He sprinted at that one. The Nice Guys, Blade Runner 2049, a sequel that had no right to work, yet it did. He walked into a film about a plastic doll and stole it. No wires. The one-star Hollywood kept walking towards the money and he slipped it every single time. The Outlier, the one they could never tame. And I can prove he was real because I kept the receipt. That white satin scorpion jacket in Drive, the leather driving gloves, I walked out of the cinema and bought myself a pair I have never once had reason to wear. Now, I did drive a Citroen C2 though, so that might have been part of it, but that's what the real thing does. It reaches off the screen and into your actual life. That's the pledge. He shows you an honest man. You can't find the wires, so you trust him completely. You're meant to. The pledge isn't the lie, it's what makes the lie land later. You watching closely? Because it's the turn, the impossible. Now he makes the honest man do the impossible. He doesn't take a franchise, he bets the house on an original, and that's Project Hail Mary. And the machine tells you it's a miracle before you've seen a single frame. And I do mean before. Lego put out a £100 collector's set, the Growing Up Icons range. Icons, the tier they saved for Concorde and Titanic, monuments that earned it over decades, and put it on shelves 3 weeks before the film opened. For a movie no one had seen at this point, you could own the trophy before you could buy the ticket. That's not merchandise chasing a hit, that's a hit manufactured in plastic and sold to you in advance. And behind the camera, Lord and Miller, the modern meta warriors, the 2 men, the directors, who are least able to let a genuine feeling stand still in a movie for more than 3 seconds before they throw a gag at it. And the world called Project Hail Mary the second coming of cinema, because we're so starved for anything that isn't a sequel to a reboot of a toy, that we looked at a solid 4 out of 5 and gasped like we'd seen God. And that gasp that you're supposed to give, that's the turn, it's where the deception lives. So watch the other hand. Project Hail Mary had the same novelist as The Martian, the same screenwriter in Drew Goddard, the same clever man stranded in space 11 years apart. The Martian cost $108 million, Project Hail Mary after generous tax credits $200 million. And worldwide it made roughly what The Martian made a decade later on half the money. Adjust that for inflation, it went backwards. That's not a man flying, that's a man on a treadmill. But the system doesn't make originality anymore. So it manufactures the marketing of it, the Lego Monument, the Second Coming headlines. It tells you and sells you the feeling of bravery. And even the counterfeit doesn't pay. So what chance does the real thing have? And then the prestige. The Fall Guy stumbled, and then the offer came in for him to go off on a Star War. And taking it was the sensible choice. That's the horror of this. It's not weakness, it's just money, right? And it's directed by the master of mediocrity, Sean Levy. Now, okay, I see you with your hand up at the back there. Yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine, highest grossing R-rated film ever, directed by Sean Levy. But he's safe hands. He's plain Jane, right? Look, sit down. I love you. Hand down. Deadpool and Wolverine is the Pep Guardiola's Barcelona of movies. You put that cast or that squad on the pitch and you win the treble every fucking time. Nobody was messing up Deadpool and Wolverine. That's not a director's triumph. That's a team that cannot lose. If you get that man and give him the blank canvas for Star Wars, his filmography, Night at the Museum, The Allen Project, Real Steel, cheaper by the dozen, The Adam Project, yes, I called it The Allen Project earlier, you didn't even notice that. Safe hands. They handed him Star Wars with a single brief, the one the New York Times built a whole feature on. Resuscitate the patient. Don't dazzle, don't frighten the horses, just give us a Star War. And you can now watch The Con running in daylight. They're going to swear to you this is a standalone. One film, no sequels, nothing up the sleeve. Of course they will. Nobody drops $200 million on a Gosling Star War hoping it stays a one-off. Standalone isn't a fact. It's the pledge, the modest little thing you show the mark so the trilogy, when it comes, feels like a gift that you asked for. And you could say this is one film. It's one lapse, right? Have you been watching closely? Because they're not stopping. Comic-Con a few weeks ago, Hall H, the lights drop and Kevin Feige walks out Ryan Gosling as Ghost Rider 2028, directed by Sean Levy again, and written by Jonathan Troper again, the man who co-wrote the Allen Project, that project one. Look, they didn't hide it, they told us, grinning. They cooked up in their own downtime on the Star Wars set. Franchise 2 dreamed up on the clock of Franchise 1. And Ghost Rider, a flaming skull, the spirit of vengeance, the part Nicolas Cage played like a man wrestling a demon in a phone box, that role begs for a lunatic behind the camera. Fuck, give that to Craig Zala and watch the screen catch fire. Who did Marvel go to? Safe hands, plain Jane, Sean Levy. The same reheated microwave dinner. The Disney dollar, the Marvel dollar. Here's the punchline, they're the same dollar. Lucasfilm is Disney, Marvel is Disney. So when he stood there in the Mickey coat and said,
I owe a lot to Disney,
he was not being humble, he was being accurate. They own Ryan Gosling now, coming and going. And I'll bring you back to their jackets. That Star Wars night, 2 of them, Mickey over the heart, and then the reveal, Cade Oberon symbol on the back. That's his Star Wars character. And there's going to be a third one waiting, right? A flaming skull and a leather jacket. 3 costumes and he designed none of them. But remember the first though, the Scorpion, the one that put gloves in my car glove compartment. He chose that. It was his. Now he wears whatever they hand him and calls each one the role of a lifetime, because the trick costs. The great illusionist isn't the cleverest man in the room. He's the one willing to sacrifice the most. In that film, a man walks into a machine every single night and drowns the version of himself he used to be, so a shinier one can step out front and take the gasp. That's what bringing it back costs. And what came out in the Mickey coat, grinning, owning it all to Disney, that's the shiny one. The Scorpion's still in the tank. And look, there's another magician we can talk about before you write the eulogy. Donald Glover. Atlanta, original, surreal, defiant. And then he went and did Solo, a Star Wars film. The dollar, the disappearance. But then he did the part Gosling hasn't. Yet. He came back. He made more Atlanta. He kept his voice, he kept his art, he kept his weird entirely intact. He completed the trick. He took the money, did the vanish and brought himself back. Whole. Nobody drowned in the tank. So it can be done. Which means whatever happens next was never inevitable. It was chosen. And here's the disappointing bit. When you finally learn how the trick was done, it's never some grand dark portrayal. It's mundane. Money and maths. A good enough script. a 100 quid Lego box. The secret always underwhelms. It was never how they did it that mattered. It's what he was willing to drown to do it. And I'll tell you why it gets under my skin. And it's barely about Ryan Gosling. But it's me, right? I studied film when I was younger. I loved it. But I got scared and took a steady job. A safe pair of hands. I did that for years because it pays, right? It gets you through your bills. It gets you through your obligations. Right up until you catch yourself in your 40-somethings. And you stare at a stranger in a Mickey coat and you recognise him. I never checked reviews of Ryan Gosling films. I just went because I didn't one man to prove you could stay in the room and still only ever do your thing. I let myself be fooled for years because I wanted to be. Because we always do. So listen, do your thing. Even when it doesn't pay. Especially when it doesn't pay. Because the machine is always hiring, the money's always good, and the jacket always fits. Hell, I've still got my gloves. Were you watching it closely? I see all of it now. Every wire, every mirror, every line. Do better.
Would you like to know more?
Movies